The landscape of digital security is rapidly changing. Recent breakthroughs in quantum computing have created new challenges for traditional encryption methods. And we've talked about this for a while, but now we've got some facts here. The shift has introduced what experts call the quantum encryption threat, the growing risk that quantum computing poses to current encryption protocols like RSA. And now we're hearing that the Chinese have a quantum computer that can break RSA. What's going on here, John?
Yeah, apparently. So before you start ringing the alarms and start worrying about everything, the Chinese team only cracked a 22-bit key. So let me put that into reality for you. That's like picking a 3-digit lock, okay? So real-world encryption using RSA uses 2048-bit keys, which is the equivalent to a 600-digit lock. The difference is astronomical, but it's very significant because they proved the concept works. And so they've got a path forward. So they use a quantum computer to break the RSA encryption. And so that's essentially what they did. For those of you that don't know what RSA encryption, it's like a digital lock, protects everything. It protects your bank account, government secrets. It's used widely. Now, the security itself, it relies on a mathematical problem so hard that it would take classical computers thousands of years to solve. However, quantum computers work very differently. So they can theoretically solve these problems exponentially faster using an algorithm called Shor's algorithm. So the achievement, yes, it does, I would say, accelerate the timeline for QD, right? Or quantum D, which is the moment where quantum computers become powerful enough to break encryption. From everything I've read, experts now estimate that this could happen anywhere between 2030 to 2040. Now, don't have to worry because they're already working on, we've covered this many times, there's a bunch of different quantum proof encryption and algorithms that are being developed. And things will be changed over before that time. But what are your thoughts on this, Craig?
Hang on. Sorry about that. I want to put in perspective, like we've been talking about this for a while about when quantum's going to break all the existing encryption and what post-quantum encryption might look like. As we've seen a few examples, and we've been talking about RSA, and we've been talking about like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency encryption. So, it's all on the chopping block. This shows that it's possible. We're limited by today's hardware, but what it's done is shifted the industry and saying, we have 50 years left of RSA encryption to, we've got 20 years left of RSA encryption. So they have to either up the keys, like you were saying, or build some new post-quantum encryption in the next 20 years. So that's really accelerated the industry towards what's going to happen here. We need to invest heavily to get this replaced because RSA runs the internet. Let's face it.
Yeah. Well, RSA encrypts the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, RSA runs the internet, but like you're not doing business on the internet without RSA.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're not hiding your identity on the internet without RSA.
Yeah. The other scary part about this beyond RSA is that they also applied the same method to substitution permutation networks, SPN ciphers, such as present and rectangle. And they are saying that it's the first time that a real quantum computer has posed a substantial threat to multiple full-scale structured algorithms in use today. So it is scary, but still a ways away, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a ways away. This algorithm is still the best, apparently. We're still limited by the number of qubits and how long our current quantum computing can hold a session before it airs out. So, but it's happening, and we're seeing more and more threats. And again, this is just one model that we're aware of, right?
Yeah.
So the threat timeline has compressed significantly, like I mentioned, that quantum computers are capable of breaking RSA 2048 won't emerge for approximately another 20 years or so. And now they say it's gone from 50 to 30, and other articles I've seen it's gone from 50 to 20. So it depends on who you talk to, what specifically. So it changes all that. And with that, we really have to get something in place because, it doesn't seem like there's a standard solution today.
Yeah. Now, the scariest part to this, though, is that there's this strategy that's called harvest now, decrypt later. That is what I would say is the most immediate concern, because these hacks are happening, and these hackers are getting gigabytes, even terabytes of encrypted data that they're just going to keep until they can decrypt it. So that's something to worry about. But who knows? Yeah, it's one step forward for quantum computing, one step backward for encryption.
Yeah, and the future of cybersecurity hinges on adopting post-quantum cryptography standards earlier than expected. And post-quantum encryption is no longer optional for high-risk sectors like finance and government. They have to do this. And multiple quantum computing models will simultaneously attack different vulnerabilities in the current system. And hybrid encryption provides a pragmatic bridge between today's protections and tomorrow's risks. But when you use hybrid, there's usually leakage, side channels, all that kind of stuff to get to versus a pure encryption. That's something when you use hybrid. So we'll have to see. I'm curious to see what the next stage of encryption is going to be. And with this kind of stuff coming out, we're going to start seeing things competing for standards in the public space within the next 5 years.
Yeah. Like, again, this is a proof of concept breakthrough, not an immediate threat. Okay. So they picked a 3-digit lock, whereas real security uses a 600-digit lock. So there's a huge gap there. And we've got a lot of time to bridge that gap.
Yeah, but I mean, we have a lot of time to bridge that gap, but it's not a lot of time in how the industry moves to adopt standards and gets it across. How long is it going to take everybody to flip to a new encryption standard across the internet worldwide, as an example? Well, that's going to take years. So,
well, what if not unless there's some urgency? I think they'll flip pretty quickly.
Well, that's what I mean by the fire's there. But the point is, how long has it taken us, and we haven't yet gone to IP6?
Yeah, well, that's because IP6 is just complex. It's not needed yet. It's not urgent.
I'm just saying, how many years has it been out there?
Yeah, but it's not urgent. If your data's
time, we're all going to run out of IP address. We got to do it, create it. I got to move forward to it. And now it was like, okay, whatever. That's my point being is that unless there's a real need, people don't want to do this. And you think about all the cash registers, all the POS systems, there's millions and millions of computers that need to be updated. We're not talking about, a software update. We're talking about, millions and millions of computers across the internet in all sorts of shapes and forms that will need to be updated for this. So it's going to take a while, and the solution has to be, standardized before people will jump to it. But I think we're going to see that 20-year timeline shrink because this is where we are now. But where are we going to be in 5 years, and what are we going to be breaking? And people say, oh, that 20 years is now 5 years. We got to start doing something.
Yeah.
So let us know what you think around quantum and encryption and where we're going. Should we start worrying about this? Should we be looking at other standards? Should we be worrying about harvest now and decrypt later techniques that people are having? Give us your thoughts. All right, John, what do you got going on?
Not much, just hitting the ground running. We're working last month. We were working on AI compute funds and just helping companies secure government funding. How about you, Craig?
Life is good. Lots going on. If you're watching this live, we've got a Flowgrammer event on July 22nd, but that'll be long past once this gets actually published. We'll have another Flowgrammer event in August. Currently in talks with N8N. They're probably going to sponsor that event, which is going to be great. So come out and check out all the Flowgrammer stuff at flowgrammer.ca or follow at Flowgrammers everywhere. We have Startup Drinks TO will be returning in September, and check everything else out at torontostarts.com. Thanks, everyone.